Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, thank you for joining me. So as the title says today, I'm going to be talking about different printer settings, and we're going to be doing a wash test. Why am I doing this? Okay, so I had a little bit of an issue with the DTV. So remember in my previous videos, the first one, when I used it, I created this bag and I said I was taking it on my holiday. So I did do that, but let me give you a close-up. So here you can see that I actually did have some ink bleed. It came in contact with either some sea spray or some bottled water, and the ink started to bleed. So in my follow-up video, I made this t-shirt for my son, and on that same trip, we had a drink spill, and again, we realized that we had some ink bleed. So since then, I washed the t-shirt, and it was really nice and vibrant when we started out. And as you can see, we have a lot of fading, a whole lot of fading going on. So I was a little bit disappointed by that, but then I thought, okay, what could I do to prevent this fading? I also had a viewer say to me that she used the DTV, and when she washed it, she had ink bleed as well. So I decided, hey, I'm going to do an experiment and to see how we could prevent this ink bleed and fading of our image. So we have a few constants: our printer, our ink, and the DTV. There's nothing we can do to change that, but we can change our printer settings. So our printer settings will control how much ink is deposited onto the DTV, and therefore how much ink that DTV will actually hold. And so if we adjust our print settings, it's possible that we can prevent this bleeding. So when I did these shirts, I used the presentation matte setting. This is what I would use if I'm using the Siser Color Print Easy. However, I decided to go ahead and to get 4 different very nice vibrant pattern images and place that onto a t-shirt with 4 different print settings, and then to do a wash test. And if some of them may bleed, one of them might not bleed, but if we find one that doesn't bleed, then we would have hit the jackpot for this one, and that would be our settings that we will use going forward. In order to do this test, I am going to put all four images onto one sheet of the EasyColor DTV. We don't want to waste it. So I'm just going to take you over to my computer, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to get 4 different print settings onto one sheet of EasyColor DTV without. Let's head on over to my computer, and I'll get into some more details of how this process is done. And if you want to see the results of the wash test and which ones bled and which one is the settings that I would recommend based on my printer, stick around, don't click off. I promise the results will be great. Hey everybody, let me just quickly walk you through the steps that I took in order to do my test. So we're going to be setting it up for 4 different printer settings to see in a wash test which ones would bleed and which ones wouldn't. And if we find one that does not bleed, doesn't fade in the wash, then that's the setting that we are going to use moving forward. In order to do that, I just came up with 4 different patterns, and then I went ahead and printed all 4 of these patterns on one sheet. So we know that this EasyColor DTV is not cheap, and so in order to save, then we just wanted to do it on one sheet. So I'm gonna tell you how I got the 4 different settings onto one sheet. So I'm using Silhouette Studio. You can use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Publisher. You can do this in Design Space. I just thought it would be easier to do it here because I could get to use the pattern fill here. So all I did, I came over and I selected a shape that I could work with. And I just added that shape. And I did that 4 times. Of course, you could always just duplicate this. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's just go ahead and select this one, and we're going to duplicate it. And let's stick that one right here. Maybe we could minimize that. There we go. Again, to minimize this one. So we want to get all 4 onto our sheet. And we want them to be big enough so that we can, see. We want to be able to see if we're having any fading in any area. So we want them to be big enough for that. Okay, so let's make that a little bit smaller and shift this one a little bit to this side. You just want to make them fit. And let's duplicate this one as well. And let's go and move that one here. Okay, so I wanted some really nice bright patterns so that, we can see exactly what's going to happen to our image. And so I went over here to pattern fill, and I just went ahead and did some selections. Okay, go ahead and click, and then let's select, and let's scroll and find something else we want to use. So let's go ahead and click here. This, that, let's select this one. And for this one, let's choose a plaid. Let's take that one. There we go. So of course we can hit print and just send this to the printer. But if we do that, then we're going to end up printing all 4 of these on one printer setting. And we want to get those 4 printer settings onto the one sheet. So what I did, and this is why I chose Silhouette Studio. It's really easy to just get this done. So I moved my patterns off to the side. And then I just went ahead and did print. Then my print settings, I selected my printer, which is my regular L3250. I went to preferences so I can set my printer settings. And I came and I selected plain paper bright white and more options. I did custom, and I changed from the Epson settings to Adobe RGB 2.2. So that's set and okay. And then I went ahead and sent to the printer. I won't do that since I've already printed. So let's cancel that. And then I just moved this one away, added the next one, and I went through the same steps. I went through this. So I took the sheet after this first one was printed. I took the sheet and just put it back in the printer, and then went to my printer settings and changed this to presentation matte, Adobe RGB 2.2, and high quality. And once I printed, I came back, added the next one, took the sheet, put it back in the printer, and then I changed my print settings to premium semi-gloss. And I came back, added the next one, put the sheet back into the printer, and changed that one to premium presentation matte. And this was on a standard quality, again with our Adobe RGB 2.2. And so this is how I got all 4 on the same sheet. So I have all my prints ready. So let's take a look and see which one of our printer settings will work the best and give us a wash that the ink doesn't bleed. So I have done 4 settings on the one sheet. So we're looking again at using plain paper bright white on high quality. We're looking at presentation paper matte, high quality, and we're looking at premium presentation matte standard. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and cut these out, press them to my t-shirt, and once they're pressed to the t-shirt, we'll wait 24 hours and then throw them in the wash to see how well they do. So there you have it. You can use a pair of scissors, your home iron or mini heat press. You don't need to have a cutting machine or the mask. You can, if you have it in one piece, you can just peel that up. Make sure that it goes down flat. As you see, I had to be uncurling it. Make sure it goes down flat, and then you can press it to your t-shirt. So we're going to give this 24 hours, and then we're going to start the wash test, and then I'll get back to you with the results. I'll come back to you after the first wash, then I will go ahead and wash it maybe 2 more times and then see what it looks like. So I'll go up to maybe 5 washes and we'll see how it holds up. Okay, everybody, here I am in my laundry and I have thrown the t-shirt in the wash. I am pretty much using the wash settings that I use for all my laundry, just to make sure that, if there are some recommended wash settings, most people won't pay attention to that. They're just going to go ahead and wash the t-shirt along with their regular clothes. So that's what I did. I turned the t-shirt inside out. I threw it in with the rest of the laundry, and I just went ahead and used my regular settings where I would put it on normal and I would do a medium wash and cold water. So here is my shirt after that wash, and on the right, this is where I had used plain paper bright white, and on high quality, here I had used presentation matte on high quality, premium presentation matte on standard, and this was a semi-gloss. So as you can see, the print for the semi-gloss wasn't that great. I didn't expect it to be great, but I just decided to try that. So let me zoom in and show you the results of the wash. So this is the first wash. And as you can see, when we're looking at the this is the presentation matte. We do have some ink bleed. All right, so we do have some ink bleed, not too much, but let's come over to so right here, we are looking at the plain paper bright white. If we get close up, we can see that we don't have any bleed at all. okay? There's no bleed at all. The quality, the color, everything looks exactly the same as when I started. If we come down to the premium presentation matte, we can see again that we're having some bleed in there, some bleed and fading. So this is a premium presentation matte. For the semi-gloss, we have a little bit of bleed. Here we are again. We have some bleed. So far, the plain paper bright white seems to be the setting that we should put it on. So I'm going to do a few more washes so that we... Okay, everybody, I am back after wash number 3. So I showed you what it looked like, after wash number 1. So now I'm showing you wash number 3. So remember that this is what our t-shirt looks like, and each pattern you have here is a different printer setting. So over here, we printed onto the DTV using plain paper bright white with high quality settings. Over here, we have the presentation paper matte and on high settings. Here we have premium presentation matte on standard print. And over here, we have premium semi-gloss. So I didn't think that the premium semi-gloss was going to be a good fit for the t-shirt, but I did see a video where somebody did use the gloss settings and it seemed to have been fine. Of course, there was no wash test, so I don't know if there would be any ink bleed. However, when I did do the test, to begin with, there was some bleeding. So let's find that we had a little bit of an ink bleed right there. And we have a few other spots. However, at wash number 3, it didn't seem to affect the print anymore. I didn't see any additional bleed for any of these other settings. So we may have had maybe just a little bit more here. Let's put that in. I think this got a little bit bigger, but that's about it on wash number 3. And remember, this one is the presentation matte. And here we had the premium presentation matte, and where we had our fading at the edges and some here in the middle. I haven't seen any extra fading, and I basically use the wash settings that I would normally use for my laundry. When we come back to our plain paper bright white at wash number 3, I'm not seeing any fading at all. So I'm going to end my wash test here because I'm satisfied and comfortable that using the plain paper bright white will allow me to transfer my images without any reaction to moisture, and so I won't have any ink bleed or any fading. If you want to see more wash tests, I watched a video recently by Corinne Blackstone, and she is actually going to put her shirt through 50 wash tests. So she says that she will come back with an update at 20 washes and an update at 50 washes, and I'm actually really excited to watch that video. So the video where she's actually using the DTV, I will link that, so if you're not subscribed to her, you can subscribe to her to actually see the outcome of those washes. And so I decided to stop at this point. While I was creating this video, Siser did put out a new video. It's under 2 minutes, and in that video they also did recommend the plain paper bright white. So I think that is the settings that will work for whatever printer you have. I am using the Epson L3250 with Epson ink. You may be using a Canon, you may be using an HP or some other type of printer, but all printers are different in terms of how they distribute the ink, and the different inks are different. So you may want to do an experiment similar to this one to make sure that you are using the correct settings for a product that you are going to sell. So far, I think the plain paper bright white is the way to go, but I also did see a video where they were using the semi-gloss settings and the image came out beautiful. For me, I had an excess of ink, as you can see in some places, so I don't think that's, so for me and my printer, that semi-gloss setting would not work, but you might want to play around with your printer to see how it goes. So I think I can end my test right now, and I really hope that this video was useful for you, and I really do hope that you did get some good information from this video. If you did, please remember, just take a second and hit that like. It really does help me out. And if you're interested in seeing more of my videos, please just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to see my next video.